Alright, we're going to take our first break at around 10:15, so that's in an hour or so. We have one bathroom, so there might be a bit of a lineup. We've got a bathroom upstairs, so I live upstairs. This is a duplex, same floor plan upstairs. So I got two little kids and my wife running around upstairs, so you might hear that. And they're there, right there. And my office is in the back. I'll give you guys a little tour. So we got the one bathroom here. For lunch, we have an option of walking up the street 2 blocks. It's a 2-minute walk to a lovely little cafe. Sit down for a soup sandwich. Or if we feel like, let's stay warm and stay inside, we can order in. So I'd like to take a vote. Who's up for a short walk outside and who'd rather stay in? Walk outside, raise your hand. Perfect. I love showing off my neighborhood. So we're going to check that cafe out today. And a similar plan tomorrow, assuming we still like walking tomorrow. We've got another cafe to check out for lunch. Tonight's plan, we're going to get picked up by the limo at 6 o'clock. We're going to go on a little tour. Now in Canada, it gets dark at this time. This time of the year, it gets dark at like 4:30. So it's going to be dark and there's going to be Christmas lights. So we're going to do a little tour of Elmer, Quebec. We're in a little city called Elmer, Quebec. And then we're going to go drive in front of Parliament. Parliament lights up at night. Parliament is the Congress of Canada. It's where the elected officials argue about stuff. And there's also a Ottawa Senators alumni hockey game happening in an outdoor ice rink in front of the Parliament. So Ottawa Senators is our professional NHL team. In Canada, in the backyards of most Canadians, many Canadians, not me yet, but they build these little walls and fill it with a hose, and it makes a hockey rink, just like you mow the lawn. Like they just make hockey rinks in their backyard.
That's why they're so good.
They made a hockey rink. That's right. That's right. So that's the plan tonight. So we're going to do a little drive around in the limo, and then we're going to stop back at the hotel if you want to freshen up, change up, rest for 45 minutes or so. Then we're going out to a late fancy dinner. So 8:30 is our reservation for a fancy dinner. It's actually right across the street, literally across the street from the cafe that we're going to, but we're driving around because we have a limo. So we're doing that. Now the reason we're doing limo today, and the reason we picked you up in a limo, because I want you to feel like the professional speaker you know you are and you know you're becoming. In fact, today I want you to become the person you will be in 1 year. For the day today, I don't want you to be as the person you are now. I want you to be as the person you will become in a year from now. We're going to do a quick exercise right now to get you in that state. If you could, please stand up. Give yourself a bit of space. And this exercise is called the Circle of Excellence. The Circle of Excellence. The way we do this is we take our finger and we're going to imagine it has a laser coming out of it, and we're going to point onto the ground a circle large enough for us to step into. So go ahead and draw a circle on the ground that you see in your mind, and when you step into this, you become the most excellent version of yourself. So go ahead and step into it. Now, imagine yourself uber successful. You've achieved all of your goals. You are at optimal health. You are at optimal intelligence. Notice the thoughts that go through your head as the most excellent self. And notice how you don't worry about some of the petty stuff that you used to worry about. Notice how you would be dressed as your most excellent self. Maybe you'd be wearing some super designer, custom-made clothes. Notice how you would stand a little bit taller, a little bit more proud. Notice how when you breathe, you're breathing calmly, not stressed, right? Think about the friends that you would call friends, and as you went through your contacts in your phone, you'd go, pretty big deal person there, pretty big deal person there, but these are all your friends. This is the most excellent version of you. Okay? This is actually a great mentor for you, this person. Because when you're feeling down and out and you're feeling like, I don't know what to do, you can call into the room your most excellent self and you say, what would I do if I was my most excellent self in this moment? And by getting that insight, sometimes I think about, what does my future self want me to do today? They always want me to save more. They always want me to save more money and invest because they're like, come on, that's my money you're spending. Yeah. Right? They also make me realize, you know, this stuff that you're worrying about right now, 10 years from now, not going to matter. But what really is going to matter is And then what they tell me is the thing that I should probably be focused on, right? So this is you, the most excellent self. I want you to hold this space today of you, your most excellent self, you yourself a year from now, so you can feel and embody what it means, what it feels like to have achieved those things that you have already, that you're planning on doing. And today we're going to really solidify and create that vision of what that next year looks like for you. And tonight we're going out to dinner not as ourselves from 2017, but ourselves from December 2018. And we're going to reflect on how amazing the last year was from the future perspective. So this is all about embodiment of the person you're becoming. Because when you take the stage as the most excellent self. And the more that you can practice being that person, the more prepared you are to take the stage. So now we're going to take a little laser finger and we're going to smudge it like it has an eraser. We're going to smudge the line away to blur it and say, I am this person now and for the rest of the day. Please take your seats. So that's the plan for today. Any questions before we continue? Ground rules. How do we make the most effective use of the next 3 days? What can we expect of each other? What can you expect of me? And what should you expect of yourselves? Let's start with, what can you expect of yourself? I'm going to take notes, and I'm going to ask you to shout it out.
Active listening.
Very good.
Constructive input.
Good. Constructive input. What else?
No hiding. If I'm under the table, pull me out. I'm not sure why I didn't look at me when she said that.
No hiding.
On you when I'm under there. There you go.
And the opposite of hiding is what?
Transparency. Yeah. Participation.
Good. Participation.
Active participation.
Yeah.
How about being bold and courageous?
Very good.
Yeah, I was thinking being willing to be vulnerable.
Something along the lines of don't be afraid to share your ideas. I guess it's the same thing.
Good. Let's put our phones on silent or do not disturb or airplane mode, please. How do we create the space where sharing an idea is easy?
No judgment of others' ideas.
And I'm a real stickler for language, right? Words matter a lot. So I always see no judgment. I always want to know, what's the opposite of judgment?
Maybe encouragement.
Encouragement, support.
Affirmation.
Good. Encourage, support, affirm. Okay. I'm going to say believe in yourself. I believe in you. I'm paid to believe in you. I don't coach you for the current you. I coach you for the you that you're becoming. But when you leave my presence, you have to believe in yourself. Not the stories you've been telling you about why you can't, because that's a psychological mechanism to keep you safe from disappointment, the dangers of disappointment. So if we lower our expectations all the way down to, well, at least I'm not living on the streets, then it feels good. And in fact, if you want to feel good in any moment, see, we're very driven people. People don't hire coaches when they're not super driven people. You're all very driven people. And what our struggle is day to day is there's a distance between where I am and where I want to be. That's called the gap. And every time we set a bigger goal, we make a bigger gap. That gap typically doesn't make us happy. It says, I'm not there, I'm only here. And here is disappointing, so I have this urge to close the gap, and this drives us. But if we want to flip from disappointment to appreciation and gratitude, which is the secret to happiness, gratitude is the secret to happiness, all we have to do is look at the gap between where we are and where we have come from. And think about just over the last 6 to 8 weeks when we've been working together, how far you've come. And then you go, hey, wow, we're doing pretty good. But if you say, look how far I am from where I want to be, which there will always be a where you want to be farther than you are. So appreciate it. Believe in yourself. Appreciate how much you've already accomplished. Anything else we can expect from each other?
I have a word that's popping up, something about unconditional, just unconditional, like acceptance or unconditional. You know how like when you're a family, like there's always unconditional love even if you're bickering, so unconditional, whatever our version of family would be.
Can we call it unconditional love?
Absolutely.
Sure.
We could be a supportive family for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
All right, so unconditional love.
Good. Thank you for that. I want to add one more called extreme presence. And this is one of the keys of a great speaker. I asked the speaker who did 300 speeches in 2 years. I said, what's your secret? He says, I am so present on the stage, it scares people. Present just means not past, not future, present. You're not thinking about where am I coming, where am I coming from. You're not thinking about how many books am I going to sell or how much time is left. You're just so in the moment, totally flowing. And so as a student, that could be challenging because you're right now in front of an internet connected screen. And I know stuff pops up on that, and I'll get you to close your screens from time to time. You're also thinking about how does this apply to my business, and I wonder if that works with my website, and I should probably tell my web guy to get that thing started. Oh, what was that tool again? And then your mind goes off. And so like a puppy that you're training how to sit, your mind runs around, but you bring it back, not with judgment, not with scolding, but just come back and sit, and that's extreme presence. Okay, can we agree to following these rules? Can you say, I agree?
I agree.
Thank you. All right, now, what can you expect of me to make these next 3 days life-changing for you?
Active listening.
Thank you. What else?
Sage advice.
Okay.
Untapped enthusiasm.
Good.
Yeah,
What do you mean by untapped?
I don't know, just like you're not like bound or you're not like holding yourself back. You're like, like a racehorse, like wow, like.
You don't want to see an unbound enthusiasm. Not until we break out the karaoke machine. All right. I'm going to call that unbridled. Usually reserved for wild horses. Unbridled enthusiasm.
Okay.
I think your stage needs a T.
What's that?
Stage needs a T.
Oh, was it stage advice?
Was it?
No, it's stage advice.
Sage.
Oh, it was
Sage.
stage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Do you want to add stage advice?
That also. The bracket T.
Good for me, honestly. When I get up there, it's not good.
Is this where we say what we want to get out of this
From me.
from you?
But tell me what you want to get out of this anyway.
Well, I want to be able to have a speech, a signature speech that is of a certain length, but have all the elements of that speech in place, so that I can shorten it down to a 5-10 minute, or I can expand it out to a 40 minute, but have all of the key core elements there, so I can deliver a speech of any length that sells money.
Yes. Okay.
Prophetic vision. I think you're very intuitive about people. I mean, I
Prophetic.
really expect that.
Okay. I will
Crystal ball.
tap into that.
This is a little practical perhaps, but just like not just the speech part, but like part of me is like, okay, now what? So like, how practical tips on how to launch or how to. I know we've spent 6 weeks doing that, but just a little bit more of a plan of once you have this incredible, well-rehearsed entity, what next?
No,
Yes.
yeah, I was thinking the word clarity, I think that goes along with signature speech and how to launch, but you were saying,
Okay,
Yeah, so that's,
helping with that.
great.
And just to marry up with what he said, like, okay, 10 minutes, an hour, or retreat style, like 2-day, 10-minute, how to amplify,
Break it up.
or,
Good.
yeah.
Good. All right. So that would be speech delivery.
Methodology, or,
Yeah.
It's like, I loved your just-in-time handouts, I never would have thought of that, those kind of practical tips, especially for the funeral readiness kit, really helped me. You're right, I don't wanna give people a binder that they're reading ahead.
Right.
I never would have thought of that kind of tip, so I expect that from you.
Good. Good. All right. So up until now, we have focused 95% of the program on sales and marketing. I got an important insight from another professional speaker says, you don't have the right to practice your speech until you've sold it. He said, you're not a professional speaker. You're a professional salesperson and marketer of a speech. Once you've accomplished that, then you're a professional speaker. Now, some of you aren't necessarily here to learn how to sell a speech. We will cover that. The bigger opportunity financially, and I believe a bigger opportunity in impact, is knowing how to deliver a speech that sells. So you're selling a speech, get paid to speak, and you're also delivering a speech that sells. You can't do both at the same time. But here, over the next 3 days, we're actually going to work more on stage presence, on mechanics of speaking, using your voice, using the stage, how to write on a flip chart. And by the way, anyone know why I change colors? Line by line?
It helps you separate.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it's all one color, it looks like a blob of text, like a paragraph, right? Think about your audience. Not everyone has great vision, right? So just because you can see it and you're right here, I also highly recommend big fat markers. Big fat markers require you to be brief. Look, I could write 2 words before I was done here. But if I had a Sharpie, I could write a whole 8 words and you would read 0 of them, right? When my first, it's called Train the Trainer, or as they call it in the industry, T3, trainer. And this is where a trainer will spend a couple of days with people who are going to then go out and train the organization. So I got to be a fly on the wall in the back of the room at the Train the Trainer event for my original training mentor who taught me the ropes. And she's the one who taught me about the markers and changing colors and this sort of thing. The client brought a flip chart that was brownish recycled paper that had been folded and rolled up and creased and crinkled. And she walked into the room and she says, I need a new flip chart. I need a new pad of paper. The guy says, don't worry, our guys are pretty laid back. And she says, no, I can't be sending the signal that this is anything but professional. I can't be sending the signal that this is anything but quality. So, if you want, this is the best paper money can buy. I've not found anything better. And they stick on the wall. They're big Post-it notes. You can get them on Amazon. They're not cheap, but good paper. And this is what I do to, by the end of these 3 days, you hopefully won't be able to see any of my walls. You will see all flip chart paper, because we are immersing in this knowledge. We are immersing in this learning. Also, if you're gonna get a flip chart stand, you get a good one. This one is solid. You got 4 points of contact on the ground. The other kinds are tripods. Tripods fold up nicely and go in the car well. They're typically they'll kind of extend like a telescope, and then there'll be a clip at the top. But try writing on them, and what happens is they get wobbly, and then your writing just looks not great. So a nice solid flip chart stand is important. I'll pack this up and bring it in the car. It's not easy to bring in an event as easy as a telescope, but especially when you have someone else writing on the flip chart, which you can do on breakout activities, the moving stand, not so good. Get yourself good equipment. Here's a saying: invest in nice things and you will have nice things. Invest in nice things and you will have nice things. Now the flip side of the coin is, you could buy the nicest paper, the nicest markers, the nicest flip chart, and you will still not have clients. Some people get caught up in the gadget acquisition game. I gotta get bigger lights, I gotta get a fancy camera, I gotta get a better computer. You get all those things and you still have no clients. So they are two unrelated things. What's more important? Having the nice stuff or getting the clients? Clients, because clients give us the opportunity to serve. If we can't sell, we can't serve. So I tried something new this time, and I made a bit of a mistake, so I have to apologize. And that is, when I had you record your talk and send it to me, I did that ahead of time. Last time I did this, I just did the talks here, and I saw them for the first time here. I overestimated my capacity to review everybody's talk yesterday, so learning event for next time is I'm going to have the deadline a week before. But I did do yours, and I wrote my comments as a comment in the Facebook group. Started yours, haven't seen one from you.
I didn't get one done.
Okay,
And I didn't get one done.
that's fine, because we're all going to do them. The reason...
I needed to get away to do it.
Yeah, well, you're going to be thrown into the lion's pit right here, because we're actually going to hear your talk in the next hour. And this is going to be the before version. Your before version is, I'm going to give you minimal instruction on how to do this. I mean, you've had the framework now for a while. And then I'm going to either, if it's important enough for me to stop you right there, say it in a different way, I'll do that. But I'll take notes and I'll give you the notes. You can review your talk either tonight or tomorrow, because we're going to do the final version of your talk on Sunday. Okay? The reason I wanted to play around with review the recording ahead of time is I'm designing this event to have the capacity for 10 people. And to have 10 people do a talk in the beginning and 10 people do a talk at the end, it could take a long time, so I thought, give me your recording ahead of time. Either way, great job for those of you who didn't get it done, and for those of you who didn't get it done, don't worry, because we're about to do it. Okay? All right. So first thing is we're going to do a little visualization exercise. So for this, I recommend you close your eyes. And if you're not an eye closer, you can just have a soft gaze at the table. But I'm going to ask you to visualize things, and it's easier to do when you have your eyes closed. Okay, so first I'm going to take you through a full body relaxation. So uncross your arms, uncross your legs, feet flat on the floor. Take a deep breath. Just slow down your breath a little bit and notice where the chair is pressing against your body. Notice the sound in the room. And now you're going to do a full body relaxation, starting with relaxing your scalp and your forehead. Remove the tension from your eyes and your eyebrows. Remove the tension from your jaw. Just let your jaw melt loose. Let your shoulders and neck be relaxed. Relax your arms, your forearms, and your hands and your fingers, totally limp. Relax your chest and your back. Relax your stomach and your lower back. Relax your waist and your pelvis. Relax your thighs and your buttocks. Relax your shins and your calves, relax your feet and toes, and scan back from your toes back to the tip of your head and totally relax. And I'm going to count backwards from 3, and when I snap my fingers, you're going to be twice as relaxed. 3, 2, 1, twice as relaxed. Now, imagine you are in a glass sphere, like a glass spaceship, and you can see outside of it, and you're in this glass bubble. And now notice that your spaceship is on a track, like a big steel train track. And it can slide one way and it can slide another way. But when it slides, it's sliding through time. So slide it back in time to when you first saw the limousine outside. Now slide it back to when you woke up this morning and your feet first hit the floor. Now slide it back to when you got to the airport. Slide it back to when you first signed up for the Make Money Speaking program. And from that moment until now, notice the accomplishments you've had. Notice the challenges that you have overcome, the lessons that you learned. Notice who you have become in just a few short weeks. Now we're going to slide the glass bubble forward to the end of the day today. We're high-fiving, we're celebrating, first day done. And you go, man, we sure did cover a lot and accomplish a lot in one day. Then we go around for a nice drive in the limousine. Now fast forward to the end of the program on Sunday. We're hugging, we're crying, we're high-fiving. It's beautiful. And you go home ready to launch your epic speaking business. Then everything starts unfolding exactly as you planned and exactly as you created over the 3 days that we spent together. The opportunities start coming in. Your inbox starts saying the words payment received more often. Your calendar starts to fill up with all the right appointments and events that you want to be at. You start making some connections with other speakers, with other conferences. You start becoming known. Maybe you published a book. Maybe you won an award. And the next few months go by, and 3 months from now, 90 days out, you go, wow, I accomplished more in the last 90 days than I did in the last 2 years. You continue to fast forward, sliding in that glass bubble along the track. Now it's 6 months out. You check your bank account and you can't believe all the money that's in there. You look at your contacts and your recent calls, and you can't believe the people you're talking to now, only 6 months later. We continue to fast forward to a year. You feel like a completely different person, but it's familiar to you because that was the person that you created in Ottawa in December 2017. You go, I know this person, I designed this person, and I am this person, and you feel full of joy, full of gratitude at the amount that you have accomplished, at the capacity you have developed to serve. You have a collection of thank you cards that people have sent you from watching your videos and attending your events. You have a collection of trophies and plaques and certificates from all the thank you gifts you received from all of your engagements. A year from now, look at your office. Look at how it looks, how different it is, how it's full of mementos and symbols of the person who you are now. And notice what's not there anymore in a year. Those friends who are kind of on the way out, who are kind of feeling threatened by your growth. Notice that the people who used to call you and bother you just don't call anymore. Notice how you've really up-leveled by letting go of some of the relationships that were pulling you down and welcoming in some of the relationships who have inspired you to become the best version of you? Notice a year from now what you're wearing day to day, and how you used to just stare through the windows at the boutiques when just a year ago. But now that's your wardrobe. Notice how easy it feels when an opportunity comes up to invest $10,000 for a mastermind event. You say, put it on my card. It's easy. The money's there. Notice the speed at which things are happening for you a year from now. Now let's slide back that glass bubble back to 6 months from now, back to 3 months from now. And as we're sliding back, just like you were sightseeing, looking out the window of a train, you go, oh, there's that accomplishment. Oh, there is that big check that I got. Oh, there was that big contract that I won. As we're sliding back to Sunday night as you're heading out from Ottawa, feeling that gratitude and knowing that that track laying in front of you is full of ease and joy. This is simple, this is easy, this is fun. Sliding back all the way back to Friday, 9:30, back to the present moment, step out of the glass box, out of the glass sphere, back into your body now. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, open your eyes. We're back. That journey is the journey you're on right now. And at every given moment, there is a fractal of possibilities, and you just chose the one that we're on. Please take a few notes. What did you see? Let's get clear and specific. What did you see over the next year that your best version of you is pulling into reality now? Be clear, be specific. More money is not clear and specific. More events is not clear and specific. Would you like another green tea? Yes. Now you have my permission to dream big. Worst case scenario is you dream too small and you actually achieve your goals. Why not dream big and achieve those? We can make you a plan here on how to make $100,000, or we can make you a plan on how to make $1 million. They're two different plans, and you're not working 10 times harder to make $1 million. We can make you a plan to impact 100 people's lives in the next year, Or we can make you a plan to impact 100,000 people's lives. You're not working 1,000 times harder, it's just a different plan. So let's be clear on what the plan is. This is a plan, this is not a hope, this is not a dream, this is a plan. Now, I'd like you to break in groups of 2 or 3. I'll let you figure out who's going to be in your group. We'll change it up throughout the weekend. And I'd like you to explain what happened over the last year from the perspective of December 2018. So you're saying these are the things that happened. This is the order in which it happened. It happened. Feel free to explain also how you felt when it happened or how you feel now about it happening. So you're embodying December 2018 version of you, and you're saying, over the last year, since December 2017, these are the things that happened, and it makes me feel this way. Okay, we're just practicing what it feels like to say, yeah, I did that. Okay, let's take about 6 or 7 minutes to do that. Break into a group of 2 or 3. You don't need to move if you don't want to, and explain to them
Kind of makes it easy.
what happened over the last year.
But I'd be delighted to.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so what's happening?
Oh, holy cow, what happened last year? Holy.
Tell me more.
Oh my goodness. Well, I wrote my book. Let's see.
I
I wrote my book.
I
Wait,
wrote
we're
it.
supposed to go
Yes.
from,
We're supposed to go from what happened in the last year, or
No.
go from back, what?
Talking in
Oh,
December
what is
2018.
the-
it's
from the last-
December
So-
2018 and you're going back
Okay,
to today's.
so that's, okay.
The idea was just caught on like wildfire, and
So,
just for practical shift,
I have
I have
no
a
fear stepping out into
caretaker
the
for
public,
my
my
younger
message.
daughter. She's a
My
teenager,
nerves are
but
calm when I
she
step onto
takes
the
all the
stage,
days, so that's a
and I'm
shift
able to go
that's
and share my story.
good to do.
Here,
And I work from home, so
I'm able to step away from my day-to-day
that's been a good
business.
thing for my family, but it's also very distracting. So I have my own
Speak in
office,
front of other
it's separate from the house,
audiences.
but I'm really gonna create office
Revenue
hours.
increases 4
And
times, it's today, or
I'm wearing
was
Good one, I
in
like that.
Marc Jacobs.
That's what I think.
I have a couple of businesses, so I'm a regional vice president of the Arbonne business that I
I
have.
think that sounds
I feel-
wonderful.
I have
I know.
46
I feel
national
confident.
speaking
I feel
engagements.
confident.
I
I can step up and know what I'm saying.
retreat center,
Sure,
that
fun
was
days,
really
yeah.
on my bucket
I go
list.
blank.
For me, it was
Okay,
like.
I go
1 year
blank.
ago when you stepped onto the stage.
Initially,
1 year
I
ago,
was
when I
like,
stepped on stage,
that's a
I
real
go blank.
stretch.
Yeah.
But then I put
Yeah.
Kripalu on there,
I'm like,
it's very well respected.
Yeah.
So you're
I feel confident.
presenting there?
I'm presenting there. So it's a yoga retreat center, but they have many different types of speakers. So, and I do want yoga to be part of my offering. I'm a yoga teacher also.
I love yoga. So do it.
So then I just wrote down,
Go ahead.
all wellness
Yeah, go
retreat
ahead.
centers are calling me.
Fantastic.
And I'm really
Such
just
a
choosing
year.
which one.
And I've been able to,
Ease, I feel accomplished, I wrote my book.
narrow my
my book is
focus
available
to be able
for
to
sale.
attract
That's as far as I
lawyers
got,
who
but,
really want to make a difference in terms of changing the legal profession.
I don't know,
They,
help me, what else?
they want to take care of their health and
I'm
wellness.
wearing Marc
And
Jacobs
they
daily.
understand.
Yeah. It's your favorite brand?
This requires them to be more
I guess I didn't get to it either, but
And so I
like how much
had
do you
this
think you're
mission,
making?
which
I
I've
wrote
really been able
250.
to
okay, awesome.
focus on this
I,
past
250 was on
year.
my vision board last
And
year.
Yeah.
Gaining
So I
traction
just
on
added another
really
to
changing
it.
the legal profession
That's good.
and
It's a
returning it
number
to its proper
that
place as being trusted advisors in society.
I'm,
And being a model
So,
for others.
when I was married, that
We really embody
that
sort of like a
number was
more
just
holistic approach in terms of
totally
not
there.
only taking
Like,
care of ourselves physically and mentally,
I've been a single parent
but
for 13
along
years.
like what Valerie
and
does,
that
just
number
that
has not
helping
been
people
there.
preparedness
So,
for
Wonder
those
why.
most
it's not
exciting
something
in
I
their
can't
life.
visualize, I can
So I see it as a
visualize
really
Yeah.
holistic
Fine.
even more
practicing
than that I
law,
can visualize.
and I've been able
But it
to
just, it hasn't been
share
my,
this mission with
it
other
hasn't been
lawyers
my
who get
experience
it.
recently.
And to be able to
So
work
I'd like
with
to
us
add
to make a
travel,
lot of
like,
change.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
don't,
So I'm
I
attracting
don't
more
flinch,
like-minded
um,
lawyers and being able to to work with them.
I like that word.
So that they can share this mission out in the world, but I'm also
provide a plane ticket for me and my
becoming more the
family.
go-to person in my
I do travel,
community
like, for things like this,
estate
I
planning.
do treat myself
Mostly
to,
working with families that have
you know,
young
trainings
children.
and things like that, but
Yeah.
My office
I
is set up
don't
in
really
a way
treat my
that is
family to
really
like,
welcoming and
But you will
inviting.
but I will. So I won't
And I've been
flinch
able
when it's
to
like,
buy a home in my community
you know,
that it
spring break,
spend
and let's
all
go
of my
to
time
Bahamas
there.
or
I'm able
whatever,
to
so,
put my kids on the
so family
table
travel.
so that
Um,
travel together as a family. And I can work
And
in
then,
other places as well, do some
um,
retreats in some other parts of the world, not the country.
Same here.
Laura, when you say
So
I
it's just
don't
been
flinch,
incredible here with
what
so
do you
much,
define the opposite?
It's
Okay,
finally all coming
um,
together.
I
Started just a
raised
little
it,
year ago with my
I
cooking
click,
company.
I spontaneously buy the ticket to travel at home.
Spontaneously.
But now I see how all ties
Spontaneous.
together.
You've
smile
done
on
a great
this.
job. You just did a great job.
Spontaneously.
Being just there.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Well, you went first and it's
By-
always
I know,
easier.
I know, it's really interesting, and I'm listening to you.
Okay,
I'm seeing how I'm still
okay.
here.
Yeah, I,
Getting out.
in the past, would,
Because I
to
do.
the kids,
I
like,
do so much
I think you wore last year's
Really
coat
want
or
you
whatever,
to
like,
Yeah.
Didn't
like,
come out and
new-
what I'm saying.
new wardrobe, new pair of jeans, okay, got this, you know?
Yeah.
So just,
There you go.
just
And you
not
step back into your
just,
circle.
Exactly.
feeling freedom,
Very
and then freedom, freedom and stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
So comfort.
Okay, so for me, my document, which is a PDF download that families can just go and fill in.
So
It's
thank
called
you for listening next
160
year.
Days.
Yeah,
And it's
so
got
I
a
started with
decision
the
that you
clothes
make
too.
in 48 hours
Tailored
with your loved
suits,
ones.
tailored shirts,
It's a free
custom made
download on the
shoes. My
website.
friends have
and
them.
it goes viral.
Not these guys.
It goes viral and changes the way families
so
talk
I
around
published
the
a
dinner
best-selling
table
book.
about death and dying. That
My
I get
strategy is
invited
to sort
to
of
be
give my
on the
book
Today
away
Show.
so that they're in their
Opening up,
They give them to other
opening
people.
up
So
every
do a speech
possible
and give the book away.
avenue
So I'm
for
going to
me,
give away 300
not just to
copies of my
speak
book.
to 10,
Or
but
I
to
have
speak
given
to
300 copies of
thousands
my
of
book away.
optimal readiness.
I am now an
So,
accomplished speaker.
also,
I speak
I'll
about
be
2 or
able-
3 times
I'll-
a month.
I will travel and be able to
To
go
everyone.
to
Yeah,
a
increasingly
boutique and see an
larger
outfit and buy
audiences, business
and
owners,
not the
professionals,
person
doctors,
that I was
lawyers,
yesterday,
accountants,
that it's
dentists.
not in the budget. So that's fine. I know it's just a couple sentences,
That was
but
on
that's.
my
No, that was good.
One idea was the secrets of the ultra rich.
The secrets.
And I don't want to.
We'll see. That's possibly the idea, but we'll see.
What you're doing.
With the aim that this is a
So
funnel
tight it
into
is.
hiring you. as a
Yes.
Oh, I know, I'm
The
sure
whole
it
point
is.
of the book is to
And I know I
celebrate,
already know
sort
I
of to
start buying your kids, I was like, maybe about.
focus and highlight what I do and to make them what they do need to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, but she's doing so
Yeah, it is.
So beyond that, I have all the marketing collateral I need, my brand, my website,
Oh, I also wanted to add
kit.
that I was able
I
to.
want to do a series of, I've done a series of videos, podcasts, webinars to be able to attract.
2 minutes left.
Yeah.
How are we doing?
Yeah.
2 minutes left?
Thank you.
I'm
And do
done.
you have, is there an
Yeah, I
opportunity
think
for
we're
you
done.
to increase like your starting point of working with clients at X amount of dollars and?
Tell me why this really matters to me.
There's a whole
It's just a
tier, I have a
wonderful
3-tier
little
system
touch.
of clients.
I mean,
who work with me.
like I'm crazy about it. What is it
Well,
about
my
it?
office.
What is it in my mind that's like, that's the most wonderful thing? Is it
And
because it
there's
gives me
different
vision
programs
for
that I can
who
do for different people,
I'm
depending
gonna
on where
be?
they are. And
That's the kind
I
of
even
lapel
help
pin
people in the
that
States now,
professional
where
speakers
I
wear.
was Canada to this
Okay.
recently, so.
I didn't
You
know.
walk like a
That's
duck
new.
and
Yeah,
act like a
yeah,
duck.
so that's what makes it really interesting, because I can really start broadcasting
So-
the message to the right people, but
I always
It makes
wear
it
lapel pins.
the audience
I'm a
size a little
professional
bit
speaker.
And what's your starting point
That's
for
yours.
working with you?
Thank you.
up until now
Yeah,
it was
it was
250.
significant to me when I saw it, so thank you.
So my goal, or I have now 50 new high-end clients.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
And I have 300 builder
I don't
clients,
have.
which is sort of this new category that I have, and it can be done through employee savings programs. So companies can work with me and have full-time employees work with me as well. So that's what 300 is a manageable number in that case.
30 seconds left.
I have a full-time executive assistant, I have a full-time customer service experience manager, and yes, and then I have a beautiful office which has been wonderfully curated and just creates this feeling of warmth and high energy.
Do you
I've
have
traveled.
an office now?
I do, but it's not it's okay,
Yeah.
but I've seen some great offices.
It doesn't feel.
Actually, my old office
Was nice.
was nice, but no, the how she Kamala's done it is even nicer.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
So I used to have an office in the building, and then I moved
No,
out.
not at all.
And one of
All
the
right,
first
start
clients
finishing
we
up,
did,
please.
And they like transformed
We
it,
did it.
and it was a nice office to be in, and now it's an amazing office. so I'm
So
like,
you wanna take,
that's what I
you
want.
wanna take that to your
160
Yeah,
decisions.
All right.
But it'll be a
Where you
fillable
work,
PDF
the effects on
online
the
that
field.
people can then print
Please
out
turn to
and
your
put in the book.
neighbor, look them in the eye, give them a high five, and say, "You're awesome."
You're
You're
awesome. You're awesome.
I've been here for you.
You're awesome.
You are awesome.
Now look
You're
at this. The funeral whisperer.
Oh, that is awesome.
That is awesome.
She's putting us all to shame
I
here.
know.
What?
Wow.
What?
Okay.
I'm already over here
I
like,
need
how
to
many
take
of those can I
copies.
buy?
Whoa.
We're first class.
Look at this.
Isn't that beautiful?
Jeez Louise, girl.
What's
The
it
funeral
say?
whisperer.
That's a
Oh,
notebook.
wow.
Staple notes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I gotta point out a couple things here. It took me 10 years to get to that. Okay, so well, you're in the paper business.
Yeah, I'm in the paper
Okay,
business.
so this is like
That's
That
beautiful.
is beautiful.
And I
really nice.
I own a laser engraver. It's called Monster Engraving, and so the little booklet, we lasered out the funeral whisperer.
Oh,
Guys,
nice.
look at that.
Something like that, by the way.
Holy cow.
Guys, I may need to buy a laser engraver.
Yeah, I've been doing laser reading on my pens. And
Really?
It's stupid expensive. It's like $40
Wow.
a pen.
Wow.
That will be a PDF download that people can then
Feel the
again
paper.
fill in and then keep
Hello.
updating in the book.
You've been busy.
I have been.
That
This is
phenomenal.
incredible.
That is,
Wow, I really need that for my clients.
good for you. Jeez
Wow.
Louise.
That's exactly what I
So
said.
impressive.
Yeah, so nice. And how it looks and how it feels matters.
Those are just notes for me, that's not part of the booklet.
Yeah.
But we're gonna make pockets at the plant for the back that are also white, so people can keep all their papers in one place.
Really, really, really nice.
Wow.
Thank you.
I believe the experience, every touch point, from the hotel, to the limo, to the food, to the greeting, to the paper, every touch point either reinforces the brand that you want or confuses people why I thought it was here, but why the junky stuff, I like thick paper is such an easy thing for $2 more at Staples. You get the 25-pound instead of the 20-pound. And they touch it, and they don't always say, "Ooh, nice paper," but in their mind they're going, "Okay, this is quality." Really nice. Okay, now you have your vision, you've articulated your vision. I want you to boil down, because clarity is one thing I want to support you in having. I want you to boil down next year into one word.
Success.
Okay?
Freedom?
You're going to have one word. You have your word.
Okay.
And your word is going to be the theme. And I'll tell you why this clarity is so important in a minute, but I want to give you the moment to choose your word. Okay, let's go around the table and share the word.
Success.
Success. Laura?
Freedom?
Beautiful. Edna?
Fearless.
Great.
Love it.
Great.
Look at my screen, I typed in fearless as well.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I didn't even have it when he asked me. It's like,
Beautiful. Fearless. Yes.
For me, it's spiral.
Viral.
I want the 160 decisions to go viral.
Good.
That's
Yeah.
the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a great soundbite for media, for interviews. Did you know there's 160? Here, I'll give you 3 of the weird ones. Did you know you had to do this? And the interviewer goes, "I had no idea." Right?
Right.
Did you
And-
get all the 160?
Yeah, that's why I've been working so hard scrambling to get that. And you told me not to do 150, but so I came up with 160, and based on my experience, I sort of didn't have a problem, but there are weird things like, should my ex-husband come to the funeral or not?
absolutely.
That's in there, because people get in fights in the parking lot, because he showed up. But if I say in 160 decisions, if I pass before my ex-husband, we had a child together and I want him to sit with my son. Be kind to him, period. That's my decision. But there's also like an option to say, no, I don't want him coming, we divorced for a reason. People have to choose that.
Brilliant.
That's
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So the 160 decisions gets right down to it.
I love it because you can never cover 160 decisions in a talk or an interview, but you can always tease 1 or 2 or 3 and say, and the other 157 are available for free on my website.
Right.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so you have your theme. Why is that important? The theme word is because as you grow in success, you will have more and more opportunity. And in the beginning, opportunity is exactly what you want. I could speak here, I could do this interview, I could get on that podcast, I could collaborate on this project, and opportunity is great. But then you hit a point where you're full, and you have more opportunity. And the more success you have, the more opportunity is attracted to you. So how do you decide, should I do this or should I do that? And the people who are effective at this have absolute clarity of what they're defining as their own version of success. And so they ask themselves, does this bring me closer or farther from my version of success? And so with the theme word, you can say, is this me being fearless or not? Is this me being successful or not? Is this me practicing freedom or not? And the more clarity you have there, the easier it is to decide, do this or don't do this. When you don't have clarity, that's when you become overwhelmed because you say yes to everything because you feel like any one thing is not enough. So you say yes to everything. So then you're halfway distracted into all these different things. But when you have clarity and focus, you say no to almost everything. No is a very good word. No sounds like a negative word, but it's actually a positive word because in saying no, you're saying yes to the current plan. The current plan's good. We're working on the plan here. You're going to leave with a plan that you absolutely love. And then your job is to say no to everything that isn't on the plan. Now, we're driven, we're goal-oriented, we're also entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs are afflicted with a dangerous combination of ignorance and optimism. Ignorance and optimism. Because everybody else out there who we might refer to as pessimistic, they refer to themselves as realistic. They didn't do this. They didn't start the thing because they thought, that's going to be a lot of work, it's going to be really expensive, it's going to take a long time, it's going to be super hard, I don't want to do that. We all thought, that sounds like fun, I could do that. And we got into it. And then we realized, ooh, that was a little bit harder than I thought, but shoot, I'm into it now. This is how entrepreneurs get into it. Those who make it to the other side are the ones who say no to almost everything except the current plan. So I'm going to summarize a book for you that changed my life called The Dip by Seth Godin. Quick read, very simple concept. This is The Dip. The Dip says, people want to work with the best in the world. Nobody's out there saying, I would really like to work with the third best person. Nobody's out there saying, I'd really like to work with someone average. They're all saying, I would like to work with the best in the world. And so here's a concept for you on how to become the best in the world. Firstly, you define your word, your world. Define the world. So if the world is funeral stationery makers in Omaha, you can be the best in that world. If the world is speaker coaches, a speaker coach for life coaches at this price range, can you be the best? If the world is investment advisors for tech entrepreneurs in Ottawa, you can be the best. So everyone has their version of the world. When they're looking for the best in the world, what they're really looking for is the best within the guidelines of what they want, within the price parameters of what they're looking for. Now what's this dip? This dip is the slog during which it is hard and not easy, during which you are not the best in the world, where you're paying your dues and going through the steps that it takes to get to the other side. Now, where most people quit is right here. This is where people quit. They think it's really hard. I don't know how long this dip is going to last. I don't feel like I have the emotional, financial, energetic stamina to get to the point where it's very uncrowded. It's very uncrowded at the top. It's very uncrowded through, it is quite crowded here. A lot of people start becoming a speaker, and then they realize, oh, these gigs aren't just landing on my lap, and oh, I didn't realize I had to be a speaker marketer. I just wanted to talk on stages. And so they get into it, and then they go, yeah, it's not for me. So the optimal quitting strategy is before you ever start, you quit. Just don't start. And if you're going to start, the optimal success strategy is to get through the dip. So you are right now somewhere in here. And I'm going to invite you to choose to have this 3-day event either be a fun and interesting time where we got to spend some time with each other, you go home with a lot of notes and go, that was really very interesting. Or it's the launch pad for you to become the best in the world. And I hold no judgment, but I would encourage you to make that decision while you're here. I hold no judgment if you decide, I'm really glad I did that. I thought it was really nice to learn about speaking and storytelling, and now I have that little tool in my tool belt, and I'm going to continue on to do other things. What I would discourage is you say, I'm going to try, but if it gets hard, I'm going to quit. Because that's just wasting a lot of energy and effort and not really serving anybody. So I want you to think about, are you in this for the long run, and where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Because even 1 year from now, you may be significantly farther along. But what I have found is that it felt like a slog for years and years until I really hit this like accelerator. And the accelerator came down to focus. Where are my gifts? And I'll show you the model I use for determining where you should focus. So you're welcome to take notes. I encourage it. The more you are engaged with what we're learning and writing, write down what you think about what we're learning, write down what stands out for you that I say. The more that you're engaged with writing or typing, the better. And I'm going to take a picture of all of the slides, all of the flip charts, and send it to you in a PDF as well. So feel free to draw what I draw. I would discourage you to take the fact that I'm going to send you a picture as your reason to disengage from engagement in the notes. The more engaged you are, the more you're going to be remembering and such. So this is called the map to the money spot. The map to the money spot. M-A-P, when you have all three, you're in the money spot. The money spot is getting paid to do what you love. It is what I call entrepreneurial nirvana. Where you wake up in the morning and you say, can you believe I get to do this work? I'm so fortunate. I feel so grateful. This is simple, this is easy, this is fun, this is joyful. How do you do this? The M stands for market. What does M stand for?
Market.
There you go. Now here's a little trainer trick, okay? It's going to feel a little cheesy at the beginning, but when your voice is moving, you're feeling it, you're feeling the word, right? Here's a rule of communication. Don't just be easy to understand, be impossible to forget. Be impossible to misunderstand. And so I take full responsibility for making my content as engaging and memorable as possible. My mother was a teacher, and my mother's mother was a teacher in a one-room schoolhouse in Schaumburg, Illinois, outside of Chicago. Cornfields and a schoolhouse. That was my grandmother's office. She had from kindergarten to grade 12 in a one-room schoolhouse. So I joined the family business. For all intents and purposes in my family, I'm a teacher. And we used to sit around at the dinner table. We never talked politics or sports. We always talked education and learning. My mother would correct me. It's not education, it's learning. Because it's not about what I do, it's about what you receive, right? That's the learning part. And she would say, it doesn't matter what I say, it matters what you hear. And often they're two different things. What matters more is what you hear. So I need to be so clear that I'm impossible to misunderstand. It doesn't matter just what I say, it matters what you hear. It also matters that you're paying attention, otherwise you don't hear. So my role in that is to be more interesting than your distractions. And by the way, I always assume you're hungover. Even if you aren't, but have you ever tried to sit through a day of training hungover? It takes real talent to keep the hungover person engaged, right?
Well, I won't be hungover tomorrow, but I will be watching Star Wars until 2 in the morning. So.
Hopefully that will energize your spirit. Hopefully that will energize you. So take full responsibility for engaging the audience. And when you speak at a conference, people are hungover. People drink at conferences. Okay? And not just what I say, it's what you hear. And it's not just what you hear that matters, it's what you remember. Not just what you hear, it's what you what?
Remember.
Remember. Because if you walked out of here with very limited recollection, it's a fail. So I want to make my content memorable. That's why I draw pictures. That's why I tell stories. Not just what I say, it's what you hear. Not just what you hear, it's what you remember. And not just what you remember, it's what you do with what you remember that really counts. In fact, the only thing that really counts is what you do, right? So I need to take responsibility. How do I make this actionable? How do I tell you, now how do you put that into action? And then you write that down. And then I'll even hold you accountable and I'll say, when are you going to do it? And where are you going to do it? Because we're more likely to do something that we define when and where we're going to do it. Instead of saying, I'm going to sign that contract as soon as possible sometime, I say, I'm going to sign that contract Wednesday at noon at my office, at my desk. Define when and where the action is going to take place. So it doesn't matter what I say, it matters what you hear, not just what you hear, but what you remember, and not just what you remember, but what you what?
Do.
What you do. That's what matters most. So, back to the model. M stands for market. What does M stand for?
Market.
Market is problems that people want solved and will pay money for it. That's what the market is. It's problems that people want solved and they'll pay money for it. A stands for aptitude. What does A stand for?
Aptitude.
Aptitude is skill. It's what you're good at. The way you determine aptitude is you ask yourself, what comes easily for me that is hard for most people? What comes easily for me that's hard for most people? And if you want to take a test that will tell you your aptitudes, Strengths Finder is a test you can take. Strengths Finder. I'll write that down. Strengths Finder. What are you good at that's hard for most people? People say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you can do that. And you go, what? It's easy. Laura, obviously your graphic design is a strength.
Yep, it was easy to me.
Valerie, your knowledge of printing, it's a strength. Now, aptitudes can be learned, can be built. Strengths can be acquired and mastered. You're not necessarily born with the strength, you can build it. The P stands for passion. And can you say it just like this with your fingers like this? Passion. Oh, I got excited and I went past the promised break time. So I'm going to finish this model when Ed gets back, and we're going to take a 15-minute break. Refill your coffees and teas, your snacks, wait in line for bathroom, and hopefully we'll be finished in 15 minutes, and we'll break until then.
Okay.
First break. Enjoy.
Thank you.
What's the password again for that one?
Awesome sauce.
Awesome sauce.
Majeed,
Yes.
I have this problem with my right foot where it wants to cramp. And what would help is if I had like something about the size of a phone book or a small
Okay.
stool or something.
I'll
that
look
could
around
lift my
and see if
foot
I
up.
can find something.
Sorry, thank you. Anybody else want some more coffee?
I'm good.
You can, thank you.
I'm going to pretend to be a doctor. Is it a potassium deficiency?
No, it's,
Okay.
thank you though, it's my right arch wants to fall, so it helps to have arch supports or have my leg raised a little bit, because it's a different condition.
Got it.